Hello, everyone. I'm Jim Garrison. I want to welcome you to this session of Humanity Rising. We've had some technical challenges with our guest today. I would like to spend a few moments summarizing the programming we've had over the last 2 weeks because I think it's been unusually potent and important for all of us as we embark on the beginning of the Trump 2 administration. We spent the week of January 20th, beginning on the day when he was inaugurated as president, discussing strategies of resistance, knowing what we know about Donald Trump and what we've seen in only the first 2 weeks. There's cause for real concern in terms of the integrity of democracy in the United States, in particular in terms of the integrity of our federal government and civic institutions and federal bureaucracies that have undergirded the nation for the last 249 years. Next year, 2026, will mark the 250th anniversary of the United States since the Declaration of Independence on July 4th, 1776. We followed that with a week about forgiveness. What does forgiveness mean in a time of duress? And just as the first week coincided with the Trump administration's initial days, the second week began with the 80th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz at the end of the Second World War, actually before the war was over, on January 30th, 1945. Hello, Caroline. We didn't see you coming up, so I was just reviewing the programming we had over the last several weeks. And so we thought today we would take a pause from the intensity of the politics of resistance and forgiveness to have Carolyn Ashley, who goes by Karuna, to talk to us about her life experience traversing Madison Avenue to Hollywood, to being an author and being a Kundalini Yoga practitioner. Karuna is going to talk a little bit about her life's odyssey and also the forthcoming book that she has, which is out. And then I'll circle back for a dialogue for the balance of the time. But Karuna, welcome to Humanity Rising. And I turn the program over to you to just make your presentation, then we'll dialogue.
Really? You're not going to ask me any questions?
Oh, yeah. When I'm happy to
No, I'm happy
do
to
that
be
as well. But
here.
I thought we would start by
Yeah.
you just presenting your life, a story, and your journey through Kundalini Yoga, and then we can dialogue about the various matters that you raise.
So, I'm so spontaneous with my conversations because, Jim, I don't want to get in the way of what God and Guru bring forth for me to share with you today. The yoga has changed my life. As if you were to say, wait a minute, she started as a model in New York City or in Paris, and you go on, through our life changes, and you end up in this predicament of service. That's why I asked. You're not going to ask me any question because for me, it's always about giving, right? So when I speak about myself, it's always that I'm so honored to be in the spotlight of why anyone would ever want to know the journey, except the only thing that has really had me write this book is it is essential to our audience that we all come together and bring this unity, this grace, this oneness in this lotus I hold in my mudra to unify, reunite the courage and the strength to find a practice that will actually work on the mind, involve the science, the cosmos, the planets, the atmospheric awareness of the environment, to give us a clean slate to walk through the darkness into the light, and to trust that that works, Jim, and all of us out there, dear ones. This works. And so when we work on our humanity stream of consciousness, and we bring in this Christ mudra, for example, right here, which automatically connects us with the cosmos to the higher wisdom and grace, the knowledge, that they can actually filter down and realign us so that we're in our best positioning to comment, to receive, to offer, to stand out of the way of our authenticity. Our unique, authentic voice needs to be heard from each and every one of us. And it is our responsibility to clean the slate in a sadhana practice. Any sadhana, all religions, if you like to use that word, I don't use it much. I bring everything together, and I speak about it in my book. I speak about it in my everyday life. I love practice. I'm a perpetual student, dedicated to spirit. So my ego, my thumbs, my ego gets out of the way. I've never been a hitchhiker, so I didn't have the courage to do that. But that that thumb represents the ego, and these fingers are tattvas: earth, wind, fire, water, ether. And I speak about the earth. I speak about how we can find in the base of our spine the mata, the mother. We're all born with that mother aspect, that wisdom, that grace. And it literally lives at the base of your spine, in the tailbone. And once that is awakened, you will find you will move on from being that model in New York to going to London to the best drama school and going like, and learn to fly a helicopter. And you're just shaking your head as the observer going, I guess I need this. I guess this is where I'm being drawn to. So,
Let me ask you, how do
great.
you distinguish Kundalini yoga from other yogas? What's the particular charism of Kundalini yoga? Is it the mudras? Is it the working with the the snake at the bottom of the spine? How has Kundalini yoga been effective for you, and how does it differentiate itself from the other forms of, like, say, hatha yoga or raya yoga, etc.?
Thank you. That's such a great question. So, Kundalini Yoga is an old science. All yogas really were derived from the ancients. the wisdom of Eastern, India, is going way back into the Buddha days and compassion. And of course, Buddhism has everything to do with Kundalini. Hatha yoga is a posturing of asanas that takes 22 years to master. Kundalini yoga takes 6 months. So if you're on the fast track to waking up, growing up, cleaning up, showing up, to lift up, it's your yoga, because it helps you, as well as other integrations of yogic practice. So I've done all the yogic practices and landed on Kundalini as my practice, my daily practice, because it has a sadhana. And in hatha or whatever kind of yogic practices you like to do, Anusara Iyengar invites you definitely to do a sadhana, but Kundalini yoga is connected with the Aquarian age. And that's what we're going into. So we're leaving the Kali Yuga, the Dark Age, the Piscean Age, has nothing to do with the astrology of the Pisces astrological sign. It's the Piscean Age, it's the Kali Yuga, it's the darkness, it's what we see going on, the transformation to transmit the kindness, the love, the compassion. So it's a devotional yoga to me. Personally, Kundalini yoga has made me pull out my bhakti. And this is what I teach. I teach bhakti yoga.
And do you have a particular lineage? Like
It's the
sort of a
Sikh.
lineage
I
of
love
various
the Sikh.
gurus and
The Sikh gurus. So there were 10 Sikh gurus back in the day, and we practice honoring each guru with everything that they brought forth into the dynasty of yogic practice in itself. And it's all about giving. It's all about wisdom. It's all about how you do things, sacrifice, and it has to do with love. So Guru Ram Das, for example, the fourth guru, used to go out in the middle of the night without his servants or any protection and feed the poor. Guru Nanak sat under a Bodhi tree most of his life. When they tried to put him to work, he would watch them all leave, and he would go back under the Bodhi tree and create this humanity, this oneness, this love that we can actually survive during the dark times. The music of Kundalini Yoga. So there's no living guru to answer your question. However, there is a book called the Guru Granth Sahib, 1,500 page guru, revered with the utmost dignity and integrity in the morning. So I'm in India now. We're all in India, okay? And we're in Amritsar. And we get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and we scrub the marble around Amritsar. It's a golden temple, and it sits in water. And in that water is floating carp to eat your karma, right? So the guru is lying in another building, the book, on its own, protected. We clean with the milk, the marble, we wash the marble. And all the milk goes into the waters where the carp is. We center ourselves and protect the guru by bringing the guru out in a most elegant, protected way where it has guards and flags and mantra and mudra. And walking through Amritsar, you see, bringing the guru in on your head. Your head is covered with a scarf or whatever, and as a respect, actually. And normally the Sikhs wear turbans. So we bring it, this guru, through the people. And when I was standing there for the first time, the women are so devoted that they're knocking you out of the way with their elbows to open this promenade of grace going in to set the guru into the golden temple, where you will always find the musicians that are revered as saints. The music you're hearing from Kundalini Yogic practice, the mantras that come from the Guru Granth Sahib, are to bring in your awareness of the respect, the discipline, how to change the ways of fighting and war into peace and happiness, how to feed 250 people outside of Amritsar daily with a langar free, how to revere yourself as a sacred self, also changing the habits. So the mind is affected with the mantras. And when you bow and give $1 to the guru, and you bow your third eye point, you touch the dust of the feet of the guru, and you walk on with grace. Something in you shifts, like in any retreat or ceremony, you shift. You become yourself, actually. And you also see, as we do the sadhana practices also, because as I said, it started at 2 o'clock in the morning, the musicians will start to play the mantras. And the mantras just take you into this euphoric state of bliss. Is it so bad to feel bliss out there in the world? If you're grounded, we are in the air tattva, which is, very Aquarian, but also needing a lot of grounding. So the navel point, second chakra, we work with the chakra systems. Very similar are the posturings of Kundalini Yoga. It has 4,000 kriyas. So everything you're doing in all your other yogic practice, we participate in that. Yet I, as a teacher, add mini meditations from the mind, because the aspects, there's 9 aspects and there's 27 projections, because each aspect has 3 layers to that aspect. Don't think you're just gonna, get away with one. We got to go deeper and then deeper and then so poke, provoke, confront, elevate. Never leave anybody just in the doldrums. And the thing with Hatha yoga and Bikram's yoga, for example, or something like that, hot yoga, it wears and tears on your organs. When you heat your body and you do those fabulous back bends, beyond the beyond, anatta, beyond the beyond, you're really stretching yourself to the maximum. And what's going to happen when you get cold? Ouch. Something's going to, and if you're not in your 20s or 30s, you're even pushing it in your 30s, things start to change. Your metabolism changes. So doing yogic practice eventually for us needs to come to meditation, needs to be able to sit and take great knowledge, wisdom, and the grace of it all and put it as a science. So we balance right, left hemisphere of the brain. We use the pituitary gland to, the organs eventually change themselves. P.S. There's no strict diets. As a matter of fact, we just love the kitchery. I love to juice. I spend every day juicing, in the morning. I like sitting at the altar and doing a sadhana. As a matter of fact, I don't want to take my stuff out into the world. That stuff you see in sadhana, like all your behaviors you see, those behaviors you react with in conversations and deals and business and what you're doing. You want to have the mindset to listen. So I hope that's helpful.
Very, very helpful. Thank you very much. I wonder how you approach the Kundalini, the coiled snake, and how your meditative practice is used to bring the snake up the spine, from the
Yes.
root chakra to the third eye and to the crown chakra and beyond. What practices, how do you appreciate that phenomenon, and what practices do you employ to activate it in a inspiring way?
Well, as I prepare for my practice, and it's always different, there's so many pranayams. Eighth body I'm referring to up here is the prana, and it's the infinity sign. So it relates to everything you're working on. And when you're not like setting a goal, I'm going to awaken my Kundalini energy. You've got it going on 24/7. When you sit for your sadhana, it awakens you. You don't do the pounding. You can add a breath of fire, which is hence the tissue. Clean out your nose, take a deep inhale, and pump the navel. Smile always, because a smile puts a relaxation in you. And use the breath, use the prana to get into the darkest, deepest lobes of the lungs that hold the grief, hold the trauma in the psoas. Use the breath, long, deep breathing through the nose always. Exhale through the nose. You can use a rounded mouth, like to reset your pituitary gland. I'll give you a practice. You take the index finger, Jupiter, and if you're identifying as a woman, you take the left thumb over the right. If you're identifying as a gent, right thumb over left. You take your index finger, go ahead, try it. Hold it just under the tip of the nose. This is Jupiter. You look at the beautiful swan neck in between your index finger. You pull your chin in, you sit back. If you're sitting in a chair, you're grounded, right? Your sit bones are grounded. You can measure your big toes together, pull your feet out, and feel this beautiful from your thighs into your upper torso. You're in an angle. Did you ever know you're in a 90-degree angle? Right there. Angles and triangles are the gift and awareness of this practice, specifically to change the hemispheres of the brain, to get through the gray matter, to entice the healing on your own through breath. So here I'm giving you a practice of a breath. So you'll inhale 4 strokes through a rounded mouth, through the back of the mouth, and you'll exhale through your nose. And then you'll pump the navel way below the belly button 4 times. Inhale. exhale through the nose. And you can wrinkle up the nose if you're feeling irritated, aggravated, negative, anger. Wrinkle your nose and exhale. So with the wood snake energy of the lunar new year, Wahe, Guru, you get an advantage, friends. We're in the time in which you need to learn Kundalini Yoga and experience it. And the only way you'll experience it is not reading it in a book, but to hold a mudra. So we lock down the other tattvas, which I spoke of earlier. We cross the ego, the thumbs. We extend Jupiter for wisdom, and we project chin in, drop shoulders, and navel. And then actually it's just one exhale through the nose. That was another breath that wants to intrude. But this is the, and this 15 minutes, friends, will reset your pituitary. And if you reset your pituitary daily, you don't just do this once and throw it out. No, this is repetitive japa, to repeat mantra. Waheguru, 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 Waheguru. There's a beautiful, may I also add, so that opened my pituitary, so I jump over here to the healing mantra. Ramadasa Sa Se So Hum. And you hold your hands and you offer this. And you can do this in super large groups. And what happens? People place themselves in the center of that circle and they take the healing. And for 11 minutes, we chant Ramadasa, Sase Soham. The healing of this planet is so needed. So this is such a giving, unselfish practice. Wahe.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well,
So that the Kundalini then in your system and experience is that which, when it's brought up the spine, just illuminates not only the pituitary gland, but the other glands that are there, the pineal gland
yes,
and
that.
others.
And do you know what happens with this pineal gland if you don't, I'll use your word, illuminate, activate, awaken? It sticks you and keeps you in your past. Because it holds the memory, the subconscious memories of the past. And when those memories linger, you can work through all those memories. You can work through that subconscious. You can actually ask them to work with you now as a mature adult at any stage. So yes, that glandular system, that when we hold the arms up in a 60-degree angle, when we hold the hands out in a 60-degree angle, when we hold the arms here, everything is changing in the subconscious. What it's doing, how it's changing, is it's showing you the pattern. So when you get up for a sadhana before the sun rises at that angle it rises at, before, it gives you all the information of the stuff, the garbage, the pain of pain, the things that are holding you back from your past. And I'm never pushing them away, or I'm just, no, I'm actually speaking to those 7 generations of ancestors and thanking them for giving me this torch. handing me this wisdom best they can. And they're jokesters, some of them. I mean, they all have a sense of humor. They all our ancestors. But what we want right now, and to here and to now, is to give it to the 7 generations to come. The children being born are bright and beautiful and willing. All the parents need to do is step back and listen and raise them consciously. It's our duty, necessary duty, to be dutiful. And how do we keep our vitality up, Jim, to do this, right?
Well, let's dwell on that, how we keep our vitality up. My understanding of sort of, let's say, Iyengar's Hatha Yoga is that if you do the postures as correctly as they should be done, in alignment with your own body, configurations and so forth, that naturally activates the Kundalini.
Absolutely.
And the sort of the inner fire.
Absolutely.
That's why Iyengar called his book Light on Yoga, that if you get your postures correctly, the mudras, even if you don't understand what you're doing, the body knows. And then the wisdom of the body takes over. Is that your understanding, or how would you
In a
phrase it?
nutshell, you're good. Are you a practitioner?
Yes.
Good. Thank you. In a nutshell, you hit it. You just took me back to India, and when I picked up Light on Yoga and read it, and it inspired me. My book is called Light on Kundalini. It was an
That's right.
inspiration.
That's right.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
Jim. Absolutely. It is paramount that you understand what yogic practice is. It is not athleticism. Believe me, I know what athleticism and competition with thyself is. I have been raised with the football NFL brothers and coaches and father and everything. Being this yogini and bhakti, tender, sensitive, loving, walking into that clan is just, adjusting, energy fields and how you do them. And with yogic practice, if you can stay in it much longer, yin yoga, I love yin, because it puts you in a posture and then you breathe. And you breathe more and you stay in it for longer and you linger and you watch the mind. And so, yes, posture asana is so important, and alignment is so important. But you see, Jim, this rigidity in our spine can't take rigidity. Our spine cannot take this rigidity. And this daily discipline of Iyengar, Anasara, is so extended that it is a great study to add to who you are today. But eventually, those back bends, you know, this is why
Mortality is real.
yeah. But you want to still be able to be gorgeous and express yourself with the practice. You want yogic practice in your life.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you saying that, and how we have to continue to shape shift our practice as we age and our personalities mature and our needs and aspirations also evolve. And one of the things that is coming more and more front and center for me, and would love to have you comment, is pranayama.
Oh,
Just the
good.
practices of the breath.
Oh,
You gave us one before to, bring that Kundalini up into
yeah,
your pituitary. But, for example, I've been doing for many years the Wim Hof breathing technique and other yogic techniques of just simply breathing,
yeah.
independent of the yoga postures and the mantras and so forth. Just the power of the breath itself in a consciously inhaled and exhaled way. So talk to us about the importance and power of breathing techniques, the pranayama.
How to stay natural with your breath is paramount. There's a breath called Satkriya. And Satkriya, you hold a posture. Okay, your hands are like this, and if they can be like this if you understand it more and have no chemicals in your body. But if you do, even alcohol, you hold it like this. Isn't that interesting? That's
Mm.
how science works on the brain with this yoga practice. But there's a way to bring up the diaphragm and then drop it. And when you add the mantra, a mantra, this one is Satnam, truth is my identity, you put that into your awareness with breath. So you're breathing and you're also repeating a mantra. So, how to stay natural with yourself and stop trying to do all these convoluted ideas that really, there's a book called Pranayam, and it's a beautiful manual. And I'm also sending you a manual in the next 2 weeks, which will be distributed through lightonkundalini.com. And it's my companion manual to my book. And it's all yogic posture and breath.
Oh, wow.
Best you can photograph it and speak about it. But you come in with the breath, we leave with the last breath. So, as natural as you can make it, if you feel like opening the 84 meridians in your mouth, there is a breath technology of an 8 stroke. This is the 8 limbs of yoga. This is the Ashtang breath. And it goes 8 inhales, 8 exhales. Prana, eighth body. We use the 10 bodies in Kundalini Yoga. We use the soul body, base of the spine. We breathe from the base of the spine to hit the second body, negative mind, to hit the third body, positive mind, to hit the heart, neutral mind, to exhale, to inhale, to hit, activate the throat, physical body. This is your throat chakra, the physical body, the voice. The prana helps the voice, clears the sinuses to the third eye point to activate to the crown, the aura, 9 feet above you, below you, from side to side, in front of you and back of you. 9 feet is your bubble, if you like. Breathing the breath, clearing, taking claws with your hands and you're breathing up this whole dungeon of the rib cage. The breath goes into the rib cage, releases all those barnacles that have caused this emphysema for our David Lynch. Caused, well, you are responsible for your breath. Grief holds the breath. Tragedy, trauma, watching the traumas, going through it, feeling other people's trauma and grief. The empath in you holds the breath. The losses we have, hold the breath. Pa, pa, the P, pa, the tongue is the breath, the clucking. The Persian women, the Native Americans in the forest. Ow! Breath, the sound current holds nothing, actually. When you have the right sound current in your heart, like the masters of Kundalini Yoga, singing, chanting, why we chant is for the breath. It's not how good you chant. I often produce concerts. And one time I brought Guru Ganesha here and to Mackey Auditorium. No, that was Sonatum I brought to Mackey Auditorium. Gorgeous venue at the University of Colorado campus. And, we do these kind of breath exercises before we start, so we can chant and breathe. So breath it is definitely, there are so many breaths I can teach you. And there are so many ways of healing the body with the breath. If you're congested, if you have pain in the body, you can heal it. Polio back in the day. I sat with a master who has a huge ashram in India, and he recovered himself with the breath. And if you see his chest, his muscles under his solar plexus and just the whole crest of his chest, the clavicle, the spirit points, the throat, are all the pranas coming from your armpit, the most important pit in your life, the sweat it creates is healthy. And the saliva is a medicine in itself. We hydrate so much to push away too much maybe sometimes. Breathe in the breath, find the saliva, swallow. Keep your voice chakra open with breath. So yeah, there's the 8 stroke, there's a 4 stroke, there's a third eye point breath, there's a crown chakra breath, there's the tiniest bone in the ear. Tiniest bone in the body is the ear drum, right? Tiny, like a pituitary gland. And yet it's so significant because it opens the temples. The breath. You don't need to do this stuff with your face. Just breathe this pranayama. And through the nose, inhaling through the nose gives you twice as long of a breath than inhaling through the mouth. So in Kundalini Yoga, I inhale through my nose, I exhale through my nose, unless I'm doing a specific healing or kriya or meditation. I invite another breath, different type of breath, like the 8 stroke ashtanga breath, 8 limbs of yoga, activates all of it, the ashtanga. So it's a great question. Thanks.
Yeah, I've been experimenting with a variety of different pranayama techniques and finding that each one of them, particularly in combining pranayama with the asanas, that
Yes,
kind of enriches it and
yes,
really exercises your abdominal
yes,
muscles and your lung capacity
yes.
as you just do your practice. It's very different from me doing the asanas with pranayama and without.
I mean, why would you do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't do that, folks. I
Yeah.
mean, if you're gonna, so if you go into cat cow, or if you go into cross crawl, that's bringing one knee in and the other leg straight and crossing the knee over and twisting and looking out the opposite way. You're in your back lobe of your lung, dude.
Yeah.
You're like hanging in the back lobe of your lung in that asana.
Yeah.
Why would you ever forget to breathe?
Yeah.
In through the nose, out through the nose. If in through I don't care how you breathe, just breathe. And then when you're ready in your mind to come out, stay another breath. There's your bonus. There's your cherry, on top of that yumminess of that asana to open you up. Breathe, baby, breathe. It's like we need you to breathe. If everybody would take just a really deep inhale right now and just exhale, if everyone would do that, we will change the idealisms and focus more on solutions to our individual problems and then go worldwide.
Yeah, I'm sure you've read James Nestor's book, uh, Breath. And in it, he is asserted something that we've done for several years, actually, as we started Humanity Rising, this coherent breathing technique that he expounds as close to perfect breathing as anything he knows about, where you breathe in for 5.5 seconds, breathe out for 5.5 seconds for 5.5 breaths in a minute, which gives you 5.5 liters of air. And that if one just does that coherent breathing, you balance everything, create mind, heart, coherence, and so forth and so on. What's your measure of that recommendation for kind of a distillation of the perfect breathing technique?
Here's what I'd like to give you.
Sure.
So, thank you. Great. So, obviously, the 1 minute breath will change your mind, your life, your lifespan, your longevity. It is excellent to practice a timed breath. You work up to a 20-second inhale, hold for 20, and exhale super slowly for 20 seconds. And if you're a new student, you're going to get absolutely like no way attitude of gratitude. Like, no, out, I'm out. Even if you do this, it's a mudra, by the way, to find the hidden greatness. Just do this with a breath. If you inhale super slowly for 10 seconds, 5 seconds, you hold at the crown for 5 seconds, same inhale, same duration of time. And you super, super slowly, without collapsing, slowly exhale. And on your exhale, dear souls, squeeze, secrete, delete. That's the key. Inhale super slowly. Hold. Squeeze lower Muladhara chakra. Hold. Exhale. Nose. On an empty breath. In other words, absolutely paramount. You remember this. On an empty breath, you can pull the Mahabandha. We haven't spoken of bandhas yet, but Muladhara, base of the spine, diaphragm, and neck, Jalandhara Bandha. So Uddiyana Bandha, diaphragm. We're talking about breath a lot here today. It's so important to open this breath and to close this breath, but only on the exhale can you squeeze Mahabandha, the great three locks, together. On the inhale, as you're inhaling and you're holding, you can take Jalandhar, neck. You can take perineum, anus, squeeze, Muladhara, 2. And as you exhale, you can look over the tip of the nose for as long as you've chosen to do the sequenced timing. And then you're empty, Mahabandha, the great three locks. Navel comes tucked under the diaphragm, Uddiyana Bandha, Jalandhar, neck lock, and squeeze Muladhara. And smile. Smiling relaxes your whole body. And you release and inhale. So as a woman, I found a way to multitask through all of my breath work. Then I thought it was, just really good. And then I looked it up into the science of breath, and it actually is written and discussed in many, the seventh rib is a big conversation. So behind this rib cage is your seventh rib that sits just below the heart. That rib cage has dialogues and pages of information about it. You can write a book on the seventh rib. How important it is to allow those ribs, their generous flow back into your upper torso. And really, so with a timed breath, as you brought up so brilliantly, when you can get to the 1 minute breath, we call the master's breath, it will ask you to do it for quite, you can do 3 rounds up to 12 rounds, 11, whatever you want to do it, however. But then if you take it to the level of 40 days, to the calendar, 40 days will change a habit. Doing the same breath, the same kriya, the same meditation for 40 days specifically, and I can give every one of you in a private session a meditation that will change your behaviors that you're so done with. And it will involve mantra. It might involve mantra. It will involve breath. And it will involve whatever you called in for me to find for you. And that 40 days of consecutive 40 days, if you miss a day, you got to start over. It doesn't have to be at the same time or whatever, full or empty stomach, all that stuff. No, just let that all go. All those ideas just get in the way of your breath. So 40 days changes a habit, 90 days activates a new habit, 120 days works. You work in a whole different way. So there's no 22 years needed. There's not this idea that will take your breath away. I don't have time. 4 o'clock in the morning, I have a full day at the office. There's no way I'm going to get up at 4. Then don't. But just do something for yourself, and stop working on the linear aspect. Take it to the infinite. Because, Jim, when we jump into that vibration of that Kundalini vibration, that frequency will change what is the chitta, Chitta, the universal mind. We add the impersonal minds, the gunas, and we take them down to the aspects and the projections, and we just siphon through your system. And that includes multiple different breaths.
Yeah, yeah. Well put, beautifully put.
Oh,
Thank you so much.
welcome.
You know, it's uh, a practice that we do consciously or unconsciously every single day. We're always breathing, whether we
Yeah,
want to or not till we die.
yeah.
And just simply becoming conscious of that and beginning to consciously regulate it in certain forms is miraculous on the body, the psyche, the heart, and the soul. It's really quite extraordinary how simple, and one understands more deeply, the Buddha's notion, just breathe.
Well,
Just breathe.
you brought up Thich Nhat Hanh in my mind, in my heart just now. You brought his Tay, you brought his Plum Village out in me
Yeah,
right
yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah,
Say,
yeah, yeah.
he has, a timer go off. His nuns, his community, every 15 minutes, a timer goes off for you to take your breath
Yeah,
and come back. Every 15 minutes. And if you hear the chime of a grandfather clock, you stop, no matter where you are and what city you are, and you stop and you breathe. And if we could, and I can say, eventually you'll get really good at this. Please, patience pays here,
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah.
patience.
Yeah. Let me ask you just a final question, Karuna, and thank you so much. Not so much about practice, but about a way of being in the world that, by all accounts, is going increasingly out of control, both
Mm,
internally here in the United States, but also globally. We're dealing with multiple crises,
mm,
closer to thermonuclear war than we've ever been since the dawn of the atomic age. We've got artificial intelligence, runaway climate change, despotism in the White House. Um, we're in almost an unprecedented historical situation. And I think the question that many people are asking is, in an absence of even an ability to connect the dots anymore
wow.
in a meaningful way, how does one navigate through an increasingly chaotic world at every level, from social media to politics to economics, and in the middle of everything else, the extraterrestrials have now appeared on planet Earth and making their presence felt. So it's like all the trains are coming in and all the trains are going out simultaneously. What's your advice to your community about how best to navigate through what's happening? And is there any one practice or one disposition of being or two that you think are the most conducive for the kind of empowerment we all need at this time?
Get up and dance. Like, shake your body. You got all this stuff you're holding on to. Why would you do that to yourself? Why? Your conditioning is only prepared by you. If you have a self-care routine, it will take you off of social media. It will stop you from answering your phone in the middle of the night. How dare you don't turn your phone off to protect your sleep, to have an abundance of knowledge, wisdom, and grace come through you. How dare we as human beings turn ourselves into the doer, the judger, the judgment day. Why? Just relax. Do a practice that has a significant sadhana. I can give you a sadhana, an Aquarian sadhana practice that will really wash away everything you just brought up. It will take you to a place of trust. It will keep you from listening to the news It will protect you. There is an ad gdenme, jugad gdenme, sat gdenme, siri gurudev enme. It is a protection mantra that you put around your right side behind you, your left side in front of you, before you start the engine of your car to protect you. There is the Adi Shakti, Adi Shakti, Adi Shakti, Namo Namo, the divine feminine who's fierce right now, who's standing up for you, who's handing you the torch to goodness, to not dwell in that in which you feel powerless. You are so powerful. You are so ready. We have waited for the Aquarian times to come. We've been in the dark ages. It's like this example I give. You think you get right to the top of the temple, good enough, and you drop off and yuck. No, keep going till you die into the bliss of your ascension. Do try not to get pulled into those lower chakras. That's why we pump with breath of fire. If you're on your moon or pregnant, no, long, deep breathing. We do things to soothe, to narrow the road, as the Native Americans called it. The Hochokawakan is placed around this whole planet. The people coming forward like yourselves out there, we are the community. It's not my community or your community. It's us. We are dancing together. We are coming in big groups to vibrate and change. And it's your simple practice is how you can help. Because when you do it out there, someone sees you doing it. You ring the chime into, it's like the Founding Mothers movement on a Wednesday at noon Eastern says, make some noise. And it'll get you out of your shyness. It'll bring your breath forward, your voice forward. It's your voice. Or sit in silence, but be aware. These group meditations are paramount right now. They're shifting the planet. It's not just festivals for this it's everything. It's the campaign of clarity, of awareness. And anyone who wants to serve, this is where I'll leave you. The seva, the selfless service of your practice. When you're feeling hopelessness, when you're feeling despair, weakened by that's why I brought up awareness of the environment so much. All that stuff, social media, all those politics, everything that's going on is just a playing of the Kali Yuga, of what worked before. They think it can work now. And guess what? No, we as the people will never allow this to happen, even if it looks like it's happening. That's when you don't bite the bait, right? Why would you ever believe that for humanity's rising and sake and this universal awareness of love that we're putting out there? It's love. It's love. Do your seva, volunteer, offer. We need a lot of people working for Founding Mothers Movement. We have so many positionings and organizational. You can look at foundingmothers.world, foundingmothersmovement.world. Something is coming forth for you to participate in. And that's us going out and marching through the truth. So we use this yogic practice only to be healthy, happy, and holy. and wholesome and inventive and courageous to get through these times. And it's not even fighting through them. It's stop the war inside of you so that there's peace outside there. And we can live as one is not a cliche. Every man and woman is needed on this planet together. We work better together so that the four-legged winged ones, plant kingdom, and all those that creep and crawl and fly can be like, hi. And you'll see, actually, was that a hummingbird? You'll see, oh, is that a, moose? What is that out there? You'll actually see the miracles. In gratitude, I share this with you. In love. And so grateful to be here with you, Jim. Your questions are so important. And thank you for inviting me in. And it touches my heart deeply to share with you all. And I love Humanity's team and Steve and Stephanie and Rachel. I love all of us over there. And I have a program on Humanity's team. I've got on the stream, I've got Awakening the 10 Bodies and the 81 Facets of the Mind. Awakening the 10 Bodies. Those 10 bodies takes you 30 minutes. 1 minute each, just to wake them up. There you go. Awakening the 10 bodies. And anyone can reach out to lightonkundalini.com and write me an email at Karuna at lightonkundalini.com
And hold up your book just so that people can see your book, Light on Kundalini, everyone. That's
it's your
Karuna's new book.
guide. It's your guide to yoga and awakening. You use it as a guide. And when the manual comes out, that'll be in this hand. The manual comes out, you'll see a woman doing yogic practice who lives in the real world, who gets sick, and tired, and rest. I say, everyone rest. So the fires burn, right? The Hopis prophesied that those fires would come from the west, and they are. It's all in the prophecies. And we can do a much better job by not listening to the negative mind. It's your responsibility to get to the neutral mind at the heart and breathe and love.
Thank you, Karuna. Thank you very much. I hope you can spend a few more minutes in our after chat
Love to
interact with people.
Oh, yes, let's do that. I can't wait.
Thank you. You received the link in your Zoom reminder for today. It's at the bottom of the email, and then Stan's putting the link in the chat right now. And but if you want to join Karuna for a deeper discussion, everyone, join us in the after.
Where do I go? Wait, where do I go?
Dan, are you putting up the?
Do I stay
link?
right here?
No, wait a minute. There's the link. You see the link in the chat?
Yes, got it.
Just click on that, and then people can join you in the after chat.
Oh my gosh.
So thank you, everyone. And then tomorrow we're going to be having a session with Susan Manowich on emotional intelligence, intuitive intelligence, and what she calls plasma intelligence, which is the intelligence with which we communicate with ETs. That's tomorrow on Humanity Rising. Thank you, Karuna. Thank you, everyone. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.